Hey guys, what's up? Dingo Crikey here with another figure review. This time we're going to be looking at Transformers Combiner Wars Alpha Bravo. The official retail price for this figure was marked at $14.99 in the United States. And obviously Alpha Bravo is a significant figure because though he is part of the Aerialbots, a Superion Combiner, he is not one of the traditional team members. Initially there seemed to be a lot of controversy surrounding this figure and dislike for him, but since we do now have the online exclusive release of Slingshot, a lot of people have warmed up to this figure, and there does seem to be a crowd that strangely has like a weird fetish for it or something, and I kind of don't get that. Not saying that I don't think this figure's cool, as I will make that conclusion at the end of the review. So let's get started by looking at the box. We'll move the figure aside, and here we have Alpha Bravo and his box. Pretty much the same thing as the rest of the Combiner Wars, though we obviously have different box art up here. Same stuff on the side. This one of course shows that he's number 4 of the team. And then we have this back info, have a diagram showing him as a leg to Superion, and the only information we have for his bio is Airborne Special Ops. So there you have Alpha Bravo in his box. Now let's get to looking at the actual figure. So here we have Alpha Bravo in his helicopter mode. While he might not be the coolest looking of the Aerialbots in their alternate modes, he is definitely the most interesting, as he is the only one with a helicopter mode. And they did a pretty nice job on this guy. And I'll give you guys a quick 360 here. Take a look at the details, coloring, a lot of white, some blue, different shades of orange, and obviously red on the Autobot symbol. And there's of course black in there, so really he has emergency vehicle type colors. And they work together pretty nicely. Some of the orange might be a little bit jarring, but it does work with the emergency type theme. Now this guy does of course have a lot of little details, as you can see in there. However, not everything's painted or functional, such as the fin. You know, there's no moving rotor in there, and they didn't really color anything there. That's kind of disappointing. Also, while these missiles on the side are kind of cool, they are pretty obvious as arms from an upward angle. From the side, they look pretty good, you can still kind of tell. But from the top, they're definitely pretty obvious, and same goes for the bottom. He is one of the better looking Aerialbots from the bottom, mainly just because his legs are a little bit smoother looking in this mode, but yeah, still he's pretty obvious. All of that said though, this is a cool helicopter mode. Very sleek design, nice detailing, cool shape, just a few things here and there that I'm not really crazy about. As far as gimmicks, he has this handpiece that is used for his combined form with Superion. I have seen people connect it down here as I guess sort of a landing pad. Maybe you can use it as a weapon too. But yeah, it kind of works better like that. As a weapon, it looks kind of weird. Same thing for a lot of these guys, looks kind of contrived. As far as his standard blaster, you can attach it down here. I haven't seen many people do that. I kind of like the way it looks though. You know, it's only if you're setting him up or displaying him in some flying position, because that isn't going to work too well. And you can also connect it on the side here. And that works out pretty cool. I figure should also show this. You can, of course, spin the rotor. So now that you have a look at the figure, let's bring out some other ones for comparison. So here's a comparison of Alpha Bravo with the rest of the Aerialbots, with the exception of Slingshot and Power Glide, and he definitely is the oddball out in this comparison. I don't mind diversity amongst the Aerialbots, but the rest of them being jets of sort of a similar design, and him being this helicopter randomly thrown in there, definitely makes him stand out, and I'm not really a fan of the way it looks. His color scheme isn't bad with the rest of them, as he has white, blue, and orange, all colors we see throughout the rest of them. That's kind of cool, but he still does stand out, and he's kind of a third wheel now that we have Slingshot, so might be a little unfortunate for Alpha Bravo fans, but they're making a lot more Combiner Wars figures. I'm sure there's somewhere else he would fit in, and a lot of people like the way he looks with the rest of the Aerialbots, so that might just be my own quirk about it. And here's a comparison showing Alpha Bravo with Stunticon's Dead End and Drag Strip. I'll show the transformation into arm and leg mode later on in the video, but for now, let's just focus on getting him from helicopter into robot mode. And this guy can actually have a kind of annoying transformation, though it's not too complex. The first thing you want to do here is take this big piece in the back. And I've seen a lot of people have trouble doing this. I find the best way is to kind of push back as you're doing it rather than just to pull straight up, and it will come back pretty nicely then because it's on a double hinge joint here. So if you just push back like that, it works out pretty nicely. So next we'll go to the arms. Just loosen these off their pegs and get them out of the way as we focus on the legs. Now first thing you're going to want to do is take these little pieces, just flip them up individually, as that seems to work the best. Take these, split them apart, and then there's a little peg here, and just push it in there. Same goes for the other foot. Next thing you're going to want to do is take this piece here and just push it up. You'll probably push it down later on, but you just want it out of the way for right now. Now this part you got to be careful with, or else you can risk some cracking, as has gone on with my Alpha Bravo figure. Basically, I found the best way to dislodge the legs here is just kind of wiggle them free. You do risk damaging your figure a little bit, so I found that to be the best way. If you guys know something else, leave it in the comments section below. Same thing as far as the rest of the leg goes, just open that as I did and adjust these. Make sure these pegs are facing backward just like I have it here, and push it in like so. Push the feet down, spread the legs out, and same as on some of the other figures, just rotate the waist there, and we're almost done. Probably push this piece back down now. And technically what you're supposed to do with these rotors is just leave them like this. I definitely prefer putting them in here. Keeps them a little bit more steady though. They come out of place pretty easily. And you could also take this piece and turn it to the side. I prefer to do that. I don't know if anything's technically right as far as that goes. And then all you do is turn the head around. And there you have Deluxe Class Alpha Bravo in robot mode. And I'll bring him up close just so you can get a better look at him. Pretty nice detailing, and as with a lot of these other Combiner Wars figures, really nice head sculpt. Do a quick 360 here. Color scheme is pretty much the same as vehicle mode, except he has more of certain colors and less of others. Definitely has more orange with a lot of it in the body. A little bit more gray, as you could see on the front of the figure and on the head, but he still has a lot of white and blue, of course, and this different shade of, I guess, a goldish orange there. He has a fair amount of paint applications throughout. Obviously, the legs are pretty much just white, body all orange down here, but it doesn't look bad. As any more color and paint application, this guy might look a little bit jarring. And the color scheme isn't too bad. I do kind of like it, but the orange, blue, black, and white all thrown together do give it a bit of a weird look in my opinion. As far as articulation goes, standard Aerialbot. He has bending at the knees, the upper leg, full spin, and then he's on a ball joint there. So you have a full range of motion, just prohibited a bit by this back piece, and I guess you can flip that up if you like. As far as the arms go, on a ball joint at the upper arm, so can do all kinds of cool stuff there. Then at the lower arm, he can rotate, and he also has this ratchet joint, so yeah, a ton of articulation in the arms. No wrist swivel. Head is also on a ball joint, so He has a really good range of motion there. Can't look down too far, but I'm not complaining a whole lot about that. As with Firefly, he does technically have waist articulation, but yeah, it looks kind of weird. I wouldn't mess with it a whole lot. So for his very simplistic design, this guy has a really good range of articulation. As far as gimmicks in this mode, he doesn't really have many. I mean, the rotor doesn't have any functionality in this mode. But of course he does have his weapons with his blaster, machine gun. Really cool looking details in this thing. I mean, man, I love the blasters on these toys. From the other side, also looks pretty cool. I mean, it's a little gappy, but still, I like all of the unique weapons that these figures get, yet they're pretty interchangeable and they can work with a number of figures. That's definitely nice. So, pegging into his hand, he's not only armed with this blaster, but also all of these missiles on his arms. And to make him twice as strong, you can give him this weapon, which is basically the hand-foot piece for Superion with this thumb flip down. But personally, I don't think it looks all that good. Though technically it is supposed to be a feature in this form, just really don't like the way it looks, especially from the side. I mean, you can kind of angle it. Overall, though, I prefer to just put it to the side. In robot mode, this guy isn't bad, but he's very forgettable in my opinion. His color scheme is really nothing that stands out, and he has just a very up and down, straight look about him. His blaster looks nice, the head sculpt of course is good, but I don't think his robot mode really has anything to offer, unless you're looking for a skinny guy to kind of put contrast to the rest of the Aerialbots, which are a little bit more buff looking. And here we have a size comparison of Alpha Bravo with the rest of his Aerialbot brethren, or half-brothers. And here's a comparison of Alpha Bravo with two of the Stunticons, Deadhead and Dragstrip. And here is one more size comparison, just showing Alpha Bravo in comparison to some figures from past lines, to give you an idea of the size difference and just how he looks in scale to everyone else. But before we get into any final thoughts, let's show this guy in some of his other modes. And first I'll be transforming him back into helicopter mode, remove his blaster, and as with getting him into robot mode, pretty simple, but probably one of the more complex of the Aerialbots. So what you're going to want to do here is probably first work on the legs and just move those aside so you can get everything out of the way. You can already push the legs together if you like, and you just want to split them open like that. And pull these out. Oh, almost forgot. You want to turn his waist around. Now you want to push the legs down just like that and close them up. Make sure everything fits into place nicely as it is there. Next you want to pull these out of place, push them down just like that, same with both of them. And these pieces here, flip them down until you get that nice little click, and just make sure this is nice and snug. Now you can push this piece down, unfold the rotors, take his arms, just push them down, those pegs, pretty self-explanatory. Now you want to turn the head around, take this piece and just push it down, and take the tail fin, flip it up like that, straighten these however you like, and there you have him back into helicopter mode. From here we can easily convert him into leg mode. First, you want to flip these pieces up and open the front of the helicopter and just get these past the arms, plug them back into place just like we did when we were converting him into robot mode. And you see this piece is visible now, that's good. And take this. As always, this is a bit of a pain. I'll probably do it from this angle, it's a little bit easier. There you go, just slide it up. Once again, not pulling up, kind of pull back on it instead. push these, and you can do whatever you want with this thing. I'll probably turn it to the side. His head, you probably want to turn that this way so it isn't peeking out the back of the leg. And next, just set it down, take this piece here, and if you have it in gun mode, all you have to do is flip that piece down and attach it right here. There you have Alpha Bravo in leg mode. Now let's see about getting him into arm mode, and I'll connect that one to Superion because I prefer Alpha Bravo as an arm. So the first thing we want to do is remove this little piece, though we'll be adding it later. Just pull the arms out of place, so we have some room to work with the legs. Just want to open this piece and then kind of wiggle these free. Pull the legs down as you did previously. And it's a lot like the robot mode transformation. Just clip them into there. Push the arms back down. And we'll have this guy as the right arm. So, want to make sure the arm is turned just like that. And one more thing I almost forgot about. Probably going to want to turn his head around just so you don't have it peeking up. So there we have him almost in arm mode. Now just take this piece here. Pop out the fingers. And since this is going to be the right hand, we want it facing like that. Connect it down here. And there you have Alpha Bravo in arm mode. Now let's see about getting it connected to Superion. So here we have Silverbolt in Superion mode, ready for combination. What you're going to do is just take Alpha Bravo and attach him to this right arm port here. And this really nice system that Hasbro's made for the Combiner Wars line, you just slide it into place, and that little orange-ish brown piece will come over, and it will hold the arm in there really well. You basically have to try to get it out. You don't have to worry about falling out or anything, as with the rest of the Aerialbots. In combined form, though, he does have some problems due to the fact that these missiles prohibit his arm from not a ton of articulation, but a little bit. I also think the missiles just look a little obtrusive. I'm not a big fan of them. He doesn't make a terrible arm, but he's definitely not as good as, say, Firefly in arm mode. Other than that, I do think this guy works better as an arm than a leg because he's one of the skinnier ones. But even as an arm, he does look a little bit awkward. And, oh look, he finally stood up straight. So, final thoughts. In my opinion, for Combiner Wars, Alpha Bravo is a mediocre figure. And it's not just because he wasn't one of the original Aerialbots. In my opinion, his design just doesn't have as much character to it as some of the other figures have. His helicopter mode is pretty cool and it's unique, but if you're looking for a complete team look, he doesn't really do that so well. The robot mode is just pretty bland looking. I'm not a big fan of it. Once again, it's not terrible, but in comparison to the other ones, just not that great. I think unless you're a complete Combiner Wars completist, you don't really need to get this figure, especially because Slingshot is going to be coming out, and the figure itself isn't exceptionally cool. I do usually prefer to give positive thoughts on toys. This isn't horrible, but once again, if you're going to pass on a figure from these first 2 or 3 waves, I would probably recommend passing on this guy. But those are just my thoughts on it. You guys can leave yours in the comments section below. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. You can tell me what you thought of that and the figure in the comment section, along with any recommendations for future reviews. Do you enjoy the size comparisons? Maybe you don't think some of the transformation sequences are necessary? Leave it in the comment section below, along with any recommendations for future Transformers figures for review. That's all I have for this one. Stay tuned for more Transformers news and commentary along with figure reviews. Thanks for watching and have a good one, guys. See you soon.